versus the garbage and recycle option. We have to purchase a new fleet if we want to continue the program. We'll talk a little bit more about that here, in the upcoming presentation. The second thing is, we have an expense issue in the city of Quincy. As you know, when I ran for mayor, I ran on doing a 5-year outlook for a city budget. We started running numbers this year, and if we continue to spend money for the next 5 years at the same rate that we did the previous 3 years, and our revenues continue to be flat, we will be out of money next year. We will end the year with $1 million, and by the end of the next fiscal year, be $2 million in debt. By the year 2019, that number will be about $22 million in the hole. So over the next few months, we have some serious expense and budget issues that we need to tackle. The third is our pension obligations. A lot of people think that your property tax levy pays for our general operations for the city of Quincy, but they do not. Your property tax levy in the city of Quincy pays for our city debt, portion of the library, and it also pays for our pensions. The issue that we have is that our pension obligation has completely eroded the amount that we used to be able to levy for general operations. Now, if you read in the newspaper this last week, we got our state actuarials back on how much we have to pay for police and fire pensions this last week. And if we are to levy for the entire amount for what we owe for pensions, it's going to be about a 6% property tax increase. Now that's unsustainable in Quincy, and every year from here on after, we have to increase that by approximately $350,000 a year. So a 6% property tax increase this year, 6% next year, maybe 5% the year after that, and it keeps growing. The reason why it's growing is because people are living longer. When the system was invented, people were only living to be about 60 years old. On top of that, the state of Illinois passed a plan a couple years ago that created a 2-tier system for our public safety officials, but it also said that the city had to properly fund our pension by the year 2040, so we're having to catching up those payments. The thing about it is, with that law, if the city of Quincy fails to make a required payment, starting in the year 2016 and going from every year after that, the fire and police pension boards, without a vote from the city council, can now start raiding our some funds that we use for general operations. And so if we don't get our pension obligations, if we don't find a way to pay for it, one, we're going to produce less service, or two, we're going to have a property tax levy that's going to chase people away to another state in Missouri. This might be the first year in recent history where, as part of our budget, we have to dip into our general operations to pay for our property tax levy. So this is all tied together. If we don't fix our garbage and recycle issue, if we don't find a way to pay for new trucks, then that makes our decision at budget time that much harder. And if we can't get our expenses in line, then that means that when it comes to property tax levy, it's going to be even harder on the citizens. So why are we here today? I should say, I'll give you a brief overview of why we're here today and some of the plans presented. I'll take questions at the end of the presentation. It'll be 2 or 3 minutes. If you can, we'll have somebody come around with the mic if you can wait for her to come around. And also, if you can, state your name and address. That way we have some aldermen in the room. They'll know if you're a constituent of theirs. We can make sure that they know that what ward you live in. The city of Quincy purchased 9 new garbage trucks in 2001 for $1 million. We paid off the loan in 2006. Since then, we have not set any money aside specifically for replenishing of our fleet. Our yearly maintenance costs over the last 4 years have averaged over $250,000. Now, to replace our trucks with the same capabilities, it costs us about $180,000. The city instituted a garbage sticker program in 1991. That price was 50 cents a sticker. Prices have not risen since 1991. To give you an idea of our garbage and recycle operating expense, a lot of people think that most of our variable cost is what we generate in landfill. As you can see with disposal fees, that's not the case. Most of our cost is in fleet and maintenance and personnel, and also the insurance that we have. In the last 4 years, we have had an average since 2009 of $350,000 in workers' compensation claims to our program. Some of the issues that we have, the whole program costs about $1.6 million as it's generated today. We generate revenue from our garbage sticker program, and we also generate revenue from the sale of recyclables. Using those figures, we have a budget shortfall of $846,000 average over the last 4 years. This year it's climbed to about $1 million. If we borrow money for new trucks and put money aside for the replacement of trucks, we're looking at about an anticipated deficit next year of $1.7 million. Why is that important? Because if we don't find a way to either raise revenue to pay for those trucks, we either, one, have to levy it on your property taxes, which would be about a 5% property tax increase, and that's not including our levy for our pensions. Or we have to find that money from other departments, which would mean we would have to reduce service levels in other departments. As I stated before, our workers' compensation claims about $360,000 since 2009. I wanted to give you guys an idea, just so you can see the effect that the pensions have on our property tax levy. In 2002, we were levying $1.2 million in operating funds on our levy. Since 2010, that number has been zero, and as you can see, our pension payments, and this is through the year 2018, are going to continue to rise. So, thought process is, since 2012, we've studied, had a committee to study, what are we going to do? Are we going to continue to deliver the same service? If so, how are we going to pay for it? Are we going to upgrade our fleet? A lot of fleets, most in the industry right now, whether it's delivered by municipalities or private companies, go to a tote system. They go to a tote system because it creates efficiencies for their drivers, less workers' compensation claims, and it's more aesthetically pleasing in the neighborhoods. So these options are options that we consider. But I think it's important to know, what I like about these forums is oftentimes people give me ideas that we haven't thought of. And so the point of these forums is to get your feedback, take some of the ideas that we've learned, run some of the numbers, talk to aldermen and present them, okay, this is what we've learned from our constituents, what plans are palatable. So because you see them up here, doesn't mean that there's not other options that we can consider. Some of the solution is continuing with the same service that we delivered today. The same service we deliver today, we purchased 9 trucks. Those would be a sticker program. We call it a pay-as-you-throw method. Essentially, the bag of garbage is at your house, chuck it in, and throw it in the truck. We would have the citywide cleanup as we do now. We would collect weekly recycling as we do now, the exact same materials. Essentially, your program is untouched. To break even, we would need to charge you $2.30 a sticker. $2.30. Which means if you're a family that utilizes 2 bags a week, you're going to be paying about $19.93 a month. Why are garbage stickers an issue? One, if you're running a business, it's hard to know how many customers you serve. If people signed up for our program, we charge them a monthly charge. We would know who our customers are. We would be able to do our routes based on that. We can't do that with the sticker program. As I said, there's often aesthetic issues in our neighborhoods. You can see often wild animals get to the bags. That means our men who work on our garbage trucks have to clean up after that. Other communities have had issues with counterfeit stickers. We don't know if we've had an issue because we've never thought about it until we started talking to other waste management companies who have dealt with other cities. And it would, quite frankly, be really hard for our men who work on the truck to look at a bag and see if it's a counterfeit sticker or not. Give you an idea. On the Sunday where we had the power outage, I went to my old work, and I was trying to find cities who actually still operate a sticker-only program. And I could only find 10 myself. There may be others out there, but I couldn't find any. The average sticker price in the state of Illinois is $3 a sticker. Now, I can tell you, I'm certainly glad I'm not in LaGrange, Illinois, paying $4.40. But even at $2.30 a sticker, we would be generating a service that would be far more cost-effective and a far better service than other cities. The other options. We looked at what would happen if we went to an automated system, a tote collection system. If the city of Quincy did that, based on our 8,600 households that we service, and this is important, we have 15,000 residential households in the city of Quincy. Currently, On our average, we service 8,600 households. Now, the City of Quincy has an ordinance on our books that states that the City of Quincy should be the sole provider for waste management to the home. But unfortunately, that ordinance, for one reason or another, hasn't happened. That hasn't been enforced. So based on our 8,600 households, that program would cost $2.49 million. Now, what I didn't tell you on the slide before is to continue with the same program, we're looking at about a $2.81 million budget. So $2.49 million for the automated totes. Average monthly cost for our customers, $24 a month. So then, we thought before we go out and expend money on new trucks, let's see what it would cost the City of Quincy if a private hauler delivered the service. Now, this is also important. There is not a city within a 120-mile radius that provides their own garbage and recycle service. The nearest city is Bloomington, Illinois. So we did a bid. Company A bid all 15,000 households. Why do we do that? To give us, one, economies of scale, and two, so we can make sure that we're enforcing our own ordinance. They said for $2.37 million, we can provide not one but two citywide cleanups. We would give you bi-weekly recycling in a 95-gallon tote. Why bi-weekly? It's not because we're reducing service, but because right now we have 18-gallon totes, which are in open containers. This would be a 95-gallon in a closed container. We would increase what you could recycle by offering glass, plastics 1 through 7, except for 6, and empty aerosol cans. That would be an average price of $13.20. Now, one of the things that I've heard from constituents as they've called me is concern from senior citizens who are on a fixed income. So we did raise this the other night that we could do a homestead exemption for seniors, do a flat fee for seniors at $10, which would raise this plan up for average residents to $14 a month. Company B would provide for $2.2 million a 35-gallon tote to the house. A 35-gallon tote would allow you 3 kitchen bags to be stored in the tote. They would keep our existing garbage sticker program, and you'd be able to buy stickers if you had more bags than that for 50 cents a piece. We would get one bulky item picked up at your house a month. So if you have a love seat, a grill, anything like that, you can get that picked up one time a month. Difference with this, where under the other plan, you would have one bin to throw all your recyclables in. This, you would have to segregate your recycling yourself. So you would have one large container for your cardboard and your newspapers and such. Then you'd have your smaller container, the containers that we utilize today, for your bottles and your cans. So that cost would be $2.2 million. We also got a quote. A lot of times, people say, "Hey, another city does it like this." Some cities have where they provide weekly garbage collection to the curb, but you have drop-off recycling. And so we got a quote on that, and this company would provide 4 drop-off locations throughout the city of Quincy, which would be open 40 hours per week, manned by a personnel that they provide. You'd be able to recycle paper, glass, metal, aluminum cans, e-waste, except for TVs. And the price would be around $12 a month to about $18 a month. To give you an idea, we took a look at what other communities charge. For us to continue the service under the garbage stickers at $230 or the tote containers, we would still be some of the most expensive in the area. Over here you can see the other companies. And we have this slide online if you want to look. But basically the average price that you'll see in our area is about $14 to $15 a month per house. Everybody asks, what would you do if you privatize? What would you do with the men who are currently employed by the city of Quincy? Well, one, these guys are hard workers. I tell you what, these guys bust their butt, and I get more calls on their behalf saying what a great job they do. And so I didn't want with this program, if the council did vote to privatize it, these guys would be without a job. One of the main issues that we have in the city of Quincy, constituent calls us for sidewalks. When I ran for mayor, I ran on implementing performance-based measures, and we measured how long it takes us beginning to end if Sam wants his sidewalk fixed. How long will it take us to fix it? Right now, we're averaging 6.5 years. And so the idea was to keep everybody employed, form a second sidewalk crew so we can catch up our sidewalk work orders. We would absorb 3 unfilled positions that we haven't filled on the crew That's people we haven't hired back when we replace people. That would save us $200,000. We would close that budget gap, which would go a long way towards budget time when we're looking at how we can manage expenses. Of course, now we have our public forums. So I appreciate you listening. The things to keep in mind when we're talking about these options is what effect does it have on you? What would you like to see from the garbage and recycle program? Because at the end of the day, we want to provide a service that you're happy with at a price that is palatable to you. So without that, we'll take questions. Now, I will say we will stop the forum right at 7:30, so that way people can get out of here. But I will stay here all night if you have a question and you didn't get an answer. I will stay here until the library kicks me out. So, go ahead. And if you could state your name and address.
My name is Lisa Lagoda, and I live in the Calftown neighborhood. I had one question about the comparisons that you were making. When you said the sticker price would go to $2.30, you talked about the ordinance that says that the city should be doing 15,000 households, but they're currently doing only 8,600.
Correct.
So when you talked about the $2.30 sticker, are you calculating that based on the 8,600 or on the 15,000?
That would be the 8,600.
Okay, so if the city decided to follow the ordinance that it's had in place since 2002, then if it should be calculated for the 15,000, which would bring the sticker price down from $2.30 because they'd be doing more volume. Could you address that issue?
Yeah, I think the issue that we have with not enforcing our own ordinance is the more we raise sticker prices up, if we don't enforce our own ordinance, I can say that right, the more people will be more likely to use a private hauler. Because, one second. Okay. Because of the fact that, if you're paying $2 a sticker right now, you're paying $2.30. I can go to a private hauler, get it for $20 a month, and I don't have to worry about going to the store. And so, we can look at enforcing our own ordinance. As I've said before, this is not an issue where we can make everybody happy. If we decide to enforce our own ordinance, the about 4,000 people who have a private hauler now would then not be able to utilize them. And I should say with these, with the flat fee, most of the people that utilize a private hauler pay about $22 to around $25 a month. So if you utilize a private hauler now, if we generate a plan that has a flat fee of $12 to $13 a month, those individuals would see savings. Yes, sir.
After Tuesday night's meeting, I went home and I mulled this around, and I'm looking at the price company B, company C. The one question that kept coming into my mind is, how is company B or company C being paid?
Sure. When we got these quotes, all these prices here are 10-year price, and a lot of people say, well, how are they locking in their price for 10 years? They're not. What they're doing is they gave us a year fee for year one with a 3% escalator on top of that, and so we've averaged those out. And we've averaged those out for the sticker fee because we wanted to make sure that if we charged you a fee, you could budget it for the next 10 years. And
right.
So how they would bill us monthly, and then we would put it on the quarterly water bill.
Okay, so the last part finally answered my question. So basically, the city's going to send them a quarterly check for their services, right?
Yeah.
And that's the meat. And the city's still standing there holding the gristle, which is the billing. And the billing cost is substantial for company B or company C, and we're picking up part of the cost of their doing business, and we're paying for that. We're paying personnel in City Hall, we're paying for computers, we're paying, that we're still paying for that.
Sure. Well, if company B or company C wants to do that, they need to pay for the whole thing and not leave us with the gristle. They need to take the meat and the gristle. The reason why we included it on the water bill is because if the companies were to bill themselves, it would add about $1 to $1.25 per month. We already have the capabilities. We don't have to buy any new equipment. If we were going to add it on your bill, it would be a simple line, which we already have the capabilities to do that. So it was an attempt to save money since we already had the capabilities to do that, since we were already billing out on a quarterly basis.
So they have the capabilities as well.
I'm sure they do.
Then they should do it.
They would charge us. Yes, sir.
Cliff Cornett, 1700 Maple.
Hi, Cliff.
Now, you go on about this ordinance that we have had it in place for quite a while. 6,400 according to Tuesday night's paper. 6,400 people times $100 would be about right for the life of it. We do 2 bags every week.
Mhm.
$100 times 6,400, $6,400. $640,000, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So now, if 1 year, that would buy you 4 garbage trucks.
Mhm.
Why, I don't understand why you haven't addressed this way back before you became mayor. Why didn't the last mayor before that?
Well, I can say I was on the council for 4 years, and to talk as an alderman, you know, the aldermen are part-time, and they're often not presented with things like this. You know, I wasn't presented with a profit and loss or a garbage and recycle program. I was never presented with that. I was never presented with a 5-year budget outlook to say, okay, these are our issues, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have a transparent conversation about the issues that that are facing the city, because we need to make sure that one, our citizens are aware of it, but 2, you know, how we can provide that service to make sure that, you know, we're being good stewards of the tax dollars.
See, you made this about trash,
Mhm.
but then you also start to throw it back onto us about our property taxes.
Mhm.
And that's gonna have to go up. I understand the pensions are all getting higher and everything like that, but you're trying to make a scare tactic, it seems like to me.
Mhm.
And then when you show all this stuff, all this printed right here,
Mhm.
you got company A, company B, company C.
Mhm.
I would like to see names on there. I don't wanna see A, B, and C.
Mhm.
I wanna see,
The reason-
stand up and be, talk about it, you know?
Sure.
Now, I talked to a guy from BFI,
Mhm.
and he said that 18 seconds, that arm can come around, pick up the trash can, dump it.
Mhm.
Nobody gets in there, looks in the trash can. We're talking about trying to keep a big mountain of trash from building up Canton and have to find another place to go. I guarantee you that a lot of people are not gonna recycle. It's human nature, they won't recycle. It's gonna go in that trash dumpster. Electronics, gonna go in that dumpster. They're not looking in there, they won't look in there. They, 18 seconds, pick it up, pick it up. I live on a corner, I don't have an alley. So now I have to set my trash can out, this big dumpster, okay? So now, if there's traffic sitting there, cars sitting there, how does he get that? 18 seconds, he's got 18 seconds, you know? Doesn't make sense to me. But the one I really would like to see is, get that $640,000 back. And that would have paid for a lot of this, we wouldn't be having this meeting. A, B, and C, I want accountability.
The reason, the four companies that bid were Allied, Area, Waste Corporation of America, Quincy Recycle. The reason why we can't tie the companies with the bid is because of the bidding procedure, to where the city council has the right to reject all bids and go out for bids again, and so then those companies would have their numbers released. So that's the reason for that, is to protect, to make sure we're following the bidding procedures. The second thing is from interviewing companies who are in the waste management business, they're not guaranteeing that their drivers never get out of their truck. You know, they deal in many cities, you know, that are far more compact than Quincy, Illinois. I think if you travel to other cities, you'll see we have a pretty good grid system and our streets are pretty wide. You know, these drivers will go out, if cars parked in front of a tote, will get out of their truck, go there and wheel it to the forks that'll do it. So the drivers are not guaranteed that they just stay in the truck and do nothing, and neither would ours be. You know, our drivers, if we continue and do a tote system, you've got to go out, because we've got to make sure that we can, you know, do that. So that answers that. Yes, sir.
My name is Norman Shell. I live at 1300 South 20th Street. I'm in the 6th Ward. I want to make one small correction to some figures you gave. The sticker started at 35 cents a sticker, and then later on was increased to 50. The second thing is, we've talked to a number of senior citizens, and they put an average of 1 to 2 bags a month out for garbage pickup. So this $10 a month would really hit them hard. So I think really, you're talking about a flat fee. I think you've got to take into consideration these 65 to 90-year-old people to take care of this garbage situation. Part of our stuff, we have a fire pit. We burn paper so that paper does not go into the dump. And plastic the same way. And this kind of helps here. But just consider that. And one other thing, I want to thank you for having this open meeting to give us a chance to express our opinion, and you're open to it. I'm glad for that.
Thank
Thanks
you
very much.
Thank you, sir.
Did you say you burned your plastic? Hey, you burn your paper. You can recycle your paper.
in most cases, the only thing we put is, packages and things like that, of plastic and paper, we burn in the fire pit. But, newspaper, package material,
And if we can,
the garbage type mail goes.
we can discuss with one another the different things all night, but let's make sure everybody gets their questions answered, that has one. Russell, how are you doing tonight?
Fine, Harry.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for asking. Most people don't.
You're always welcome.
Say, as that gentleman said, and it isn't, it's really good what you're doing here.
Thank you, sir.
However, somebody's already made this decision because your request to vote says that December 30th, the reward is going to be made to one of those three people. Is that true?
No, that would be, the reason why we have that in there is because if the companies wanted to buy trucks to be, to service us for our fiscal year, which starts May 1st, they would need time to go and buy it, and that's why we had it in there, to say, okay, we'll if we make a decision, if you want to provide it by May 1st, then we would need it by December 29th, but we can always extend that deadline, and they can move the change of service to June 1st, to July 1st, or whatever, and those companies, I don't think would have a problem extending that.
All right, so if you get enough input from everybody and come up with a proposal Z, then we can look at a proposal Z in a form or an element?
Yeah, well, if there's an alternate proposal, and I'm sure there will be, again, the point of these forums is to hear ideas from neighbors, to hear things that perhaps we haven't thought about in the city of Quincy, talk to the aldermen, what they've heard from constituents, and then say, okay, here's what we've heard back, here's the feedback, A, B, C, D. These are plans that we think meet our constituents' requests. We may not be able to make everybody happy, but this is what we think will make a majority of the people happy, and that's the intent.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Steve Schutte, 820 Sycamore, Quincy. One thing about the sticker program, that is a fair tax. Because if you use it, you pay for it. If you don't use it, you're not paying for it. So that is a fair tax. So we put it on another bill somewhere. Somebody might not be using the garbage at all, but they're still paying for it. My other thing is, you want to get rid of, or I shouldn't say you want to get rid of, you're wanting to look at privatizing garbage because it's not a profit-making entity. Well, working for the city, I don't think there's any profit-making entities other than the utilities. I mean, you could go through and see what everything costs. So where's this privatizing going to stop? Is it going to go with the garbage? Next thing, we're going here, we're going here. You want to know the truth? We can get a company to come in and run the city as mayor and council. So, I mean, if we're going to start, let's start with the top. I mean, that's my opinion.
Steve. Glenda, hold on one second. Steve, thank you for all you're doing for the city. The thing that we owe it to all of our taxpayers is to look at our operations and say, are we providing an efficient operation? And this is a thing to say, okay, about 85% from studies that I've read of municipalities have a private company deliver their garbage and recycling service. And so if they're doing that, why is that? And can we provide a less expensive cost and concentrate on our core competencies? Our core competencies: police, fire, sidewalk crews, trees, and such as that. So that's why really that was done, to compare our services to what we can do.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. But if you do that, like I said, utilities brings in the money to the city. So if we're going to get rid of the things that don't bring in money, what are we going to have? I'm asking,
yes,
where does
sir.
it stop?
Sure. I think you're misrepresenting the intent. The intent was to say, this is a way to look at the program to say, we're not bringing in what this program costs. And other communities, whether it be Springfield, 40 years ago, Peoria in 1965, had a conversation in their community that says, do we want a program that pays for itself? Because if we don't, that means it starts eating away at other programs that we deliver. It starts eating away at our police, at our fire, at our sanitation. And so that's the conversation, is do we want a program that pays for itself? Because if not, it does affect the other service level that we can deliver in the city of Quincy. Yes, sir. How are you doing?
Fine. I'm Walter Inman, 2150 East Wilmar Drive. All right, my question is, aren't these newer trucks equipped with these cameras to keep an eye on what's going in them now, or not?
You know, I don't know that. Yes, they are. Get an answer, yes, they are. So,
Well, I mean, you know, he's talking about.
yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Glenda, we have here, yes.
I'm Mary Ann Klein, I live 2100 Aldo Boulevard, and I just have a question. It's not about garbage or recycling.
Louder.
I'll repeat the question.
Thank you. Thank you.
They have to remind me all the time. I drop it all the time. Get that up there.
Okay, Mary Ann Klein, 2100 Aldo Boulevard, is a question that I have about another city service, just it's a sort of place this in context. How is snow removal handled?
Snow removal?
Yes, how is it handled budgetarily?
Paid for our operations. Yeah, we don't charge people for snow removal.
As well, the
Yeah.
implications of my question,
I
I think,
understand.
are clear.
I understand. Frank, how are you?
Doing well,
Thanks
Mr.
for
Chair.
being here tonight.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. My name's Frankie Murphy-Giesing, 7th and Monroe. So if I worked in government, I wouldn't want government to give the job to somebody else. And if I didn't work in government, I would not want the government to take care of it because the government's been losing money. So for the past 22 years, the government is not able to do it correctly, right? They're losing money. So I don't care one way or another if it's privatized or in the government. Following the law should be number one. Follow the city ordinance makes sense, otherwise change the rule. But here's my main thrust of my point. Is there going to be an opt-out type of situation? That's my first question.
You know, under this, there wouldn't be an opt-out if we choose to enforce our own ordinance or don't make an amendment to the ordinance. One of the things that was brought, an idea that was kicked around at the last meeting that actually my predecessor, Alderman Klingel, brought up was maybe doing some type of franchise fee, so that way you can still give people choice if we did have a sticker program. So that was something that he had given an idea, and again, we'll take that back and look at it. So.
Can I just make
Sure.
another
Sure.
addition? If we follow the law like we're supposed to, then you're forced to use the city, then you're opted in. So at that point, so if we follow the law, it's going to sound contradictory, but if we follow the law, I'm okay with paying the bill, but if we privatize it, I'd like to have an opt-out ability, only because it's the old, it's the ACA whole deal where you're forcing people to pay for services, things like that. So it gets kind of messy. And another thing is, I'm concerned that if I don't like the program, if I don't want to be forced to buy this, and then my water gets shut off, things like that. So you know, all of these like nasty government intrusions and tentacles that kind of grab onto things. So thanks for answering my question.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. Do we have, yes, right. Yep.
Beverly Snipton, 2119 Brookman Drive. I'm going just a little bit different direction as a senior. I have a problem with the 95-gallon totes. Don't know where I would put them, they'd have to go on the side of the house. Then my neighbors would have to look at these ugly big things, and I'd have one little bag to go in this huge tote. And in the wintertime, I'd have to go get them through some ice and snow to get them out there to the street, and that would not be fun.
One of the things that is available are the smaller containers.
Just with one company though, right? Correct.
No, both of them would offer smaller containers to people who did not need big containers.
Okay, that
Yeah.
wasn't stated in.
Yeah, I apologize. Sometimes I don't explain things very clearly, so I apologize.
That
but-
would be a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, so you would be able to say, hey, there's no way I'm going to fill a 95-gallon tote. There's no way I'm even going to fill a 65-gallon tote. Can I have a 35-gallon tote? Sure.
And I just don't want to deal with it,
Yeah.
want to handle it. And a lot of people that, seniors, use canes or something.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for them to get those huge ones out.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm Alan Starkey.
Hi, Alan.
I'm 3300 Lawrence Road. One question was already asked, so I have two. I had two questions, but one was about the tax privatizing issue. I asked the following question because I cannot see any other logical reason why you would want to discourage recycling and impose a regressive waste removal fee, or you can call it a tax or fee. Simply raising sticker fees would be the fairest, simplest, and most cost-effective solution. Jobs could be saved as well in waste removal and recycling areas. There's also a finite number of landfills available in this area. In time, if our waste is not minimized by a viable, I want to repeat, viable recycling program, the cost to dump refuse further away would increase exponentially. The question is, have there been any contributions or promises or contributions directly or indirectly made to your mayoral campaign by individual or company involved in waste removal?
No.
Then,
I don't think I said this last time. Michael Hincamper, I'm at 1007 South
Thanks,
12.
Michael.
Want to follow the rules. One thing I'd like to say in the mayor's defense to what you said, and I agree with some of the things that you're saying wholeheartedly. It's his job to minimally every 5 years to look at the cost of all the operations that the city's providing. And if he didn't do that, I would think he wasn't doing his job. Now, having said that, 5 years ago, if we're going to use today as a start date, 5 years ago, obviously, nobody looked at this, because if they would have, it would have been plain as the nose on your face that something needed to be done 5 years ago, but it didn't get done. And he's kind of adopted a mess, and I want to make that point, because sometimes people will get aggravated with things that are the way they are, but they kind of misdirect the aggravation. He's not here he's here to fix the mess. I mean, that's his job, and he's doing it. And I think that he does need to be recognized for that.
I'm waiting for a question if I paid him to be here, and the answer already is no, I didn't. How are you?
My name is Mary Ann Barnard, I live on Aldo Boulevard. I want to say this, I'm involved with the Adams County Green Coalition, and I'm kind of a green Nick, but I also work in a business, and I just want to say this out loud, because I know that this problem is not coming, it's coming to the surface now. However, about a couple years ago, Mayor Spring asked if, because of my interest, if I would be interested in sitting on the committee to look at this garbage problem. And I think that then the campaign got in the way, and I wasn't at the table with the group. But I want to say that this didn't just, this just didn't occur. It's just becoming aware at this time, I think. So I just want to make sure that this is all very interesting, and I'm happy that we're having the forum. However, I just wanted to make that clear that this problem was being looked at, but it just takes time, and also this is probably a priority for you.
Yes.
And
Well, it's a
thank you
priority
that.
too for the individuals who work for the city. I mean, they're
We're
working
at
with
crossroads now, and so we have to do
They're
something
working
with
with equipment that is not safe for them to operate many times, and so we need to make sure that we're going to continue the program. We need to buy some trucks.
Steve Blacketer, I live at 1456 Hampshire.
I see.
I appreciate everybody coming in. I think it's been good dialogue and good discussion here. Yet one thing from my sense is I get a sense that we didn't get into this overnight, but it's almost like we're trying to get out of it overnight. And I really think, that we need to take a little bit of time, go through this, and make sure that the best decision's made for the city of Quincy. I don't believe we have to make a decision by December. We have to make one by January. We need to spend the time and the due diligence to come up with the best decision as possible.
I appreciate it. I should say that anything that if we're changing an ordinance or do anything, our process takes at least 3 weeks at the city council level, but also another week in committee. So anything that happens, the city council and the mayor can't just make it happen. on a Tuesday and then it's enacted. I mean, it's a month. And I'll give you an example. We lost $5 million on a hydro project. We lost it because we formed a C corporation. I had it in my packet on a Friday night and voted for it on a Monday. And, so, I mean, we're allowing time, and we will continue to allow time, because that's how I like to operate. I like to make sure that we get these things out, trying to do this in a transparent way so we can have a positive conversation on the challenges that our city faces. So when we make a decision, everybody will say, you know what, I understand why they made that. I may not agree with everything, but I understand why they did it. I know the thought process behind it, and I know citizens had input. I believe, yes, sir.
Jeff C. Prout, 6th Ward.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. My wife keeps reminding me you didn't introduce yourself, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Kyle Moore. You may recognize me from TV, the paper.
What is the hourly rate of the sanitation workers, people lift trash out every week?
Ooh.
And what will be the average hourly rate of the different 3 bidders?
Sure. The private bidders have to pay prevailing wage for that. The hourly rate, I don't know off the top of my head. Is it Doug?
Roughly 18 some change, 1838, thereabouts.
Marty, you skipped out right when I needed you. No, we did have prevailing wage in on the bid.
I just want to say something real quick. Prevailing wage only covers construction. I don't know where that prevailing wage, I'm pretty sure, because I checked into it myself.
They have to pay it. We put it as part of the RFP.
You might put it as part, but I don't think they got to pay it.
Well, they have a contract, yeah, they do.
Well,
They were.
on the what?
According to the state, they do have to pay for
Well,
it.
my understanding is, because I checked into it,
We had a class here.
I understand that, but
Hey, Steve,
Just about a month
can we allow some? We can talk back and forth.
I had a question, on the verbiage of the city ordinance, as far as, it says basically the city of Quincy is the sole provider of Class 1 waste. Is that right?
I don't think it's class 1, I think it's residential.
Okay, residential waste. So if, say, you go with number, company B, company B's now picking up, how can they ride legally on a city's ordinance? You're not doing the service anymore.
Because it doesn't outlaw that it's us or a designee, I believe. So it doesn't outlaw that we can't use it.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be interested to see that verbiage.
The gentleman in the very back and then the one with.
Steve DeMoss, 1240 South Park Terrace.
Hi, Steve.
Hello. I just want to know what it would cost. Every year we have a citywide cleanup down there. What's it cost for that a year?
$50,000.
50,000? Oh, I thought it was more than that. I was going to say, why you want to buy all these freights at one time when you could buy a truck at a time, a year?
Sure. The reason is out of the 9 vehicles, 6 are probably in need of immediate replacement. And for what it would cost us just to buy 2 trucks, we can make a loan. We can have a loan payment for all 9, and then reduce our maintenance to about $2,500 a month to $1,200 a month, and so that we would have the savings on the maintenance on the vehicle, and that's the reason for that.
Mike Kovacevic, 1828 Oak.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, sir. My question is related to what the gentleman there said. How long does a garbage truck last?
Sure.
On the average?
Sure. The average is about 5 to 7 years, but we do have good mechanics that work, so we could probably expect it to maybe last beyond that, say 10,
And
around there.
that's the second part of my question. Do the city mechanic or mechanics work on our trucks?
They do.
Or is it outsourced?
They work on our trucks.
From my experience, that's a good deal.
They do.
And
Sorry to interrupt.
another related question is, I guess that's all I need. Thank you.
And I should say, to big kudos to our department who works on our trucks in the mechanics department. We are right in line, if not cheaper, than the industry average for maintenance on our trucks. These guys do an outstanding job.
Related to that, she took my speaker.
No problem. I can hear
Related
you.
to that, school buses are now leased
at a greatly reduced cost over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any system like that going on?
We looked at leasing options, but it was, to us, presented more like a financing option that didn't really have substantial savings. That being said, it's not something that, if we say, hey, the stomach in the community is to continue on with our program, we need to buy new trucks, certainly we would do an RFP that would include either buying or leasing and look at that. Yes?
Yeah, Walter Inman again.
Hey, Walter.
All right. Now, my question is it really feasible for us not to get out of this garbage pickup? Because every year it's costing us more and more and more. And we're gonna replace trucks, we're gonna, and it goes on and on. But on the same thing, can you guarantee me that this $2.35 won't raise for the next 10 years? And I don't think you're gonna guarantee me that. These guys, whoever, A, B, C, whatever, are going to give me a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
And I'm curious whether we can compete with that any longer.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing is to try to project, over 10 years and to say what we can. It's obviously our best, the best estimate we can do. Sam?
Sam Franklin.
Oh, sorry. After, can we get to this one? I told him he'd be next. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Bruce Smith, 524 South 19th. Now you say that you're going to force ordinance now if we go to a private contractor, but you don't force it now, all right? Okay, now look, these companies, they're private companies, and they're not going to lose money because they're in the business to make money. They got shareholders and everything else. So costs go up, gas go up, they're going to shift the burden on the city, us, the taxpayers. And you put a list of prices up there, and of different cities around the region. Have you go to them cities? You see how clean they are? We've got a very clean city. I think we should keep it the way it is. The city does a good job. It's very clean.
I agree. I think we have a clean city. We want to keep it that way. Sam, and then
Sam Franklin. I live just over here at 614 Ohio. Question: if you do enforce the laws that you're supposed to be enforcing, and everyone starts doing the garbage like we're supposed to do, are we going to have more trucks? And also, you've got the one-man trucks now, but a lot of times you're using two men on them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, if we enforce our ordinance, it'd be kind of trial to see, okay, what effect does it have? I certainly think no matter what we do, keeping the program, we're probably going to need to adjust our routes. The gentlemen who do the Friday routes, it's a huge route, it takes a long time. Our city has grown east quite a bit over the last 20 years, and so we probably need to do some adjustments there. So I'm sure that would, if we continued it on and enforced our own ordinance, we would say, okay, it's taken us about X amount of hours to do this. We either would need more trucks or we need to hire, say, 2 more guys to make sure we can deliver it at a good cost and be efficient. Mary, sweatshirt.
My name's Tina Wendolfer, and I live in 17th and Maple. And I just want to address, we talk about all these senior citizens, but if we go with the sticker program, what's going to happen to me in 5 years when you jack the sticker price up to $5 a bag? We have a family of 5, and we produce some serious trash. So what am I going to be paying? We look only at the senior citizens here. We don't look at the younger generations that may be affected later on down the road when we're not locked into this 10-year program. Is there any sort of what will you stop at? Where will stickers stop?
Well, I think that's the issue that we have as to what does it cost us to deliver the program, and we don't know what gas is going to be or union negotiations or what anything's going to be, and so we can say this is our estimate and that's what we're putting numbers to and try to do a good faith, but it's a very good point that. Yes, I understand that for individuals who utilize 1 bag a week, that paying $13 when you may even at $2.30 only pay $10 a month. Well, that's that may not be kosher. But to anybody who utilizes 2 bags a week or more, it's actually a substantial savings. And I understand that I only use 1 bag, if not less, of trash a week. And I think it's important, when we're thinking about taxation in the city of Quincy. I don't have a kid in the education system, but I think education's important, so I don't mind paying an education tax. And so, it's important that, sometimes what we want for our city, if we want good education, we want good sanitation, sometimes it's a fee that's flat. Yes, sir. Oh, Glenda, I'm sorry. Yes, yes.
I live over on Locust Street, my name's Bailey, and I don't like the idea of paying maybe $13 a month for 1 or 2 bags of garbage per month. That's pretty expensive.
And this is the challenge that we have, because getting to the curb, getting to your, getting to the doors costs just about the same. The variable costs to use landfill aren't that much. We're still driving by the street. So how do we have a system that kind of works for that? So I understand that issue, but like I said, to get to a street, to get to the neighbor, cost me 90 cents for the person who utilizes 1 bag. It might cost me $1. I'm just throwing out a number here to get to the person who utilizes 2 or 3 bags. So the major cost in a garbage program is fleet, personnel, and of course overhead. So, yes, sir.
Jimmy Eddy, I live at 1704 Maple as
Hi,
well.
Jimmy.
If referring to the seniors on a fixed income, wouldn't it make more sense to have a fixed bill at a certain rate every month so you know exactly what you're spending?
Not for that difference. Not for that difference.
Frank.
Frankie Murphy, Mr. Mayor. It's a little ironic that right now we have a government system, but it's capitalistic, and then we move to a privatized system, and it becomes socialistic. I'd like to. Does anyone? Right? Let's go back. Well, can I just ask quickly, if you have a choice between getting.
And Frank, can you ask?
You. Yeah. This is a rhetorical question,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Instead of taking a poll, to freak everybody out. If the agile, I'll ask you, but this is for everybody, okay?
Okay.
And don't ever get crazy on me. If you have a choice between going privatized and getting forced to pay a flat fee a month when you don't use it, I don't know about that. I mean, I'd like to take the temperature of people who you get forced to pay for something you don't use, as opposed to a consumption tax. People who use systems a lot, use things a lot, they should pay more. I mean, if you have a huge family, it costs more. If you have a small family, it costs less. But to socialize it, there's that bad word. It's just a little ironic.
We're a very diverse crowd, so socialize may not be a bad word to some.
That's okay.
Very diverse community here in Quincy. Okay, Ms. Burns.
Mayor, my name is Jim Burns, and I live at 2318 Vermont Street. And I have math was not my best subject, but the way I'm seeing it tonight is, the way I'm seeing it tonight.
There you go, Jim.
Got it. Okay. The way I'm seeing it tonight, I've seen $600,000 revenue coming in for the stickers. We've talked about doubling the amount of people that would be paying in. That would be $1.2 million. And then we might go with my point there is that it seems like we're going to be able to get the revenue by doubling that, plus if you want to go to $1, that double. We're now up to over 2 million. So that's my math.
Cliff Annette, again, 1700 Maple. Is this already set and dried in your mind? Are you already, it doesn't matter what we say, it's going to happen? I would like to see blanket media out there. You put a little text message. A lot of people don't know how to get on the internet and like that. Put a text message out there. Each household tells you what they think they ought to do. Either stay with the city of Quincy or go privatize it. I don't understand the gentleman back there if he's doing privatizing or if he's doing Quincy. But I think that if you stayed with Quincy, you'd be a whole lot better off. My question is, you still never have answered that, is that you have all these private contractors going around and taking $640,000 out of our budget. If we stay with Quincy's system, are you going to go around and tell them they can't drive anymore?
If that's what the decision of the council is, that we decide to enforce our ordinance, we'll do it.
Why wasn't it enforced before? I don't understand that.
I
mean,
was in the
why can't
administration before.
All right, why can't you go out immediately now and stop them? stop every big blue truck, every green truck that is not a City of Quincy truck, and say, you know more, we're gonna get $640,000. Like the gentleman said, at $1, you're gonna up it a lot more, you're gonna get to pay for your vehicles. $1.50, I'll pay $1.50 a bag.
You know, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to make the most of an unfortunate situation, say, okay, once we make a decision as a community. If we then tell those people who have private haulers, hey, May 1st, we're gonna enforce our ordinance, that gives the companies who are operating, time to get their bins and to do that and to make a change so there can be a transition. What I think that people also have to remember, there are 5,000 or 4,000 people who do utilize that, and so we would be affecting their lives too. So we want to make sure that we are try to be as fair as we can for whatever system that we do, and to try to say, okay, from here on out, we are going to do this from this day, and what that system is, that's yet to be determined. Yes.
One of the things, I'm Mary Ann Barnard on Aldo. One of the things we have to be mindful of is not getting in this situation again.
Yes.
Is that part of the long-range plan?
Yes, for the continuing with the city, placing money aside for the replacement of trucks, because that's really why we're having this discussion, is to do that again. Hey, how are
Dorothy
you?
Waldhouse, I live on East Walmart Drive, and if we pay $13 a month per household, how does that affect apartment houses who do not get a water bill? So
It would be for residential units 4 or less, and so if it was an apartment, they'd get their own hauler now, because these haulers can still operate in a commercial aspect. There's a gentleman with a tie right there that has to answer your question.
Nathan Cutter, 731 North 16th. Like they alluded to, and I'm probably just restating it, if you want to start forcing people, whatever, and tell private haulers that you can't haul anymore, well then do that in May. Let us run with the city, see how much money we generate then, and up the sticker price to whatever, $1, $1.50, and then let's see what happens before we turn it over to a private company, and then we lose all of our.
We'll do. The lady in the back has not got to ask a question yet.
Now, Stark, 10th and Jackson. This is a little bit different from where we've been going, but you said that if the one private hauler and these gentlemen who are on the trash haulers now, they would go to different jobs in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They would go on the sidewalks and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there money to do these sidewalk repairs? Is there money in the budget to change them to different jobs?
Well, certainly help with closing that gap to pay for it. So, I mean, I think there would be for this. Certainly we have to make changes in our budget across the board, every department. But I can tell you that if we bring in new revenue for this and kept them, that would pay for itself right there. And we'll do one question. And like I said, I'll stay here all night.
There's one thing I think I can break it down where everybody can kind of understand this, because we're all smart, intelligent people. I put out one bag a week. Okay, I put out one bag of garbage a week. Now, stay with me after I say what I'm about to say and don't nobody pass out. I have no problem paying $16 a month for a city service. And the reason is because I'm going to now break it down to where you'll understand. I pay 50 cents a week for the city to stop at my house with 2 trucks. They stop out front and they pick, we're talking about a garbage bag, but everybody's forgetting there's a recycling truck that stops at your house too. So the garbage truck's getting 25 cents, which doesn't cover the cost of the brake lining to stop behind my house. Okay, and then the recycling truck's getting the same thing, and it ain't covering his brake lining either. The thing is, the driver's now got to give the truck gas to leave the front of my house. 25 cents ain't cutting it either. Double it up, okay, now the sticker's $1. Now they're each getting 50 cents. Sorry, still doesn't cover it. It doesn't work, and it's not gonna work And it's not 1991 anymore. And, you know, we've got to be realistic in what costs and what things cost. I don't want to pay a dime more for anything that I have to, just like any of the rest of it. I don't want to do it. But you got to deal with what's real, and what's real is that if it doesn't matter if the city says, okay, we're out of the business, it's a free-for-all, you guys go get Allied, you go get whoever you want. You're going to pay anywhere between $20, $16, $18, $20, $24. My neighbor's got 2 90-gallon totes, he pays $35. I mean, pick your road and understand what you're doing, because once the bell's rung, it won't get unrung.
Okay. I'll stay here for questions. I want to thank you guys. You were a great crowd. The important thing to do is, at the end of the day, the mayor doesn't have a vote on this. And so when we come back and say, these are the things that we've heard from our constituents, have some options, then it's, you know, up to the alderman. And so be sure to, once we present plans, to call them. And again, you can call my office anytime, 228-4545. And I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Thank you so much.